everyone and welcome back to Tropical Marine Centre. Colette here. Today we're going to be doing another Next Wave Diaries, and today's Diaries is going to be about the two tanks instead of just the one now, because we've now introduced onto the market the Next Wave 85, as I'm sure you've seen. So the Next Wave 85 in this room has been running for quite a few months now, as we've been prepping ready for the launch. So it's been cycling, it's completely cycled now, and the algae build-up, there's quite a bit of it. So all that I have added into this tank so far is some snails, and there is a few soft corals. So today we're going to be doing a bit of an update. I'm going to be also taking you into the fish house. We're going to be taking the wasp fish that we chose for this tank to be the first fish, and we're going to be introducing that into the tank for the first time, and then we'll also be picking some more corals. So I'm going to take you in there with me and you can do that together. Then we'll move on to a little bit of an update about the Next Wave 60. I'll show you kind of the new additions into the tank from when we last taught, and then also how the tank is doing as a whole. So stay with us if you want to see all of that, and thank you very much everyone for watching. Okay, so a little bit of an update now on the Next Wave 60. So this tank now is around about 5 months old. I'm absolutely loving this tank. It is a beautiful little tank, and for a nano, the corals are extremely happy. The lights have just come on for the day on this tank, so you will notice that there is still some corals that are opening up, but pretty much the majority of them are already out. So the dot dash blenny, he likes to dash in and out of the different rock and sits on the corals as well, but the corals have actually got used to that now, so they're not going in. At the beginning they used to go back into themselves and then come out after he'd moved, but they have now got used to him, so he's constantly sat on the corals and using them as little chairs for the day. So yeah, that's kind of the update on the Next Wave 60. It's doing really well. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that since I've moved the corals within the tank, I've noticed amphipods. I'll pop a little picture up at the bottom of what an amphipod looks like, but they are everywhere within the tank, which is a really great thing. So it shows that the tank's a great environment for everything that's in there. So amphipods are a type of food that the fish will eat. Not only that, but they're just part of an environment in this type of reef system. So I'm not just having the amphipods coming out of the corals, but the tank itself I have been dosing with live food. I've been dosing with copepods, live copepods, and that just keeps the tank bacteria and everything running and cycling the way it should.
So I just wanted to bring you a little bit closer to the tank, and I wanted to go through the water changing process that we do with this tank. So for us, we're doing a 10% water change weekly. Now 3/4 of the water change that we do, so 3/4 of the 10% is actually RO water. Reason being is because this tank is evaporating the water from the salt extremely quickly, and that is due to not only the light setting that we have it on, but also the temperature in the room. That will fluctuate and be different in every single person's house, or depending on where you keep your tank. So it is something to keep your eye on, and you will get into a routine as time goes on. You'll figure out the best routine for your tank once you are testing weekly and checking all your parameters and elements in the water are happy. But as you can see, the corals are very happy also.
Within this tank you'll see that there is a great amount of beginner corals, from zoas to trumpet corals to leather corals and also mushrooms. The majority of the corals in here are beginner corals. The two corals that I want to mention that aren't necessarily beginner corals, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend them for someone that's brand new starting out in the hobby, would be a goniopora. So I've got 2 of those, and I've also got a little fungi plate here. Now fungi plate, as you can see, and the gonies are doing really great. They're very happy, but I have got some experience in the reefing industry, and I wouldn't necessarily say that they are the easiest corals to keep at times, because they don't like fluctuation to water parameters or spikes. Now, as you can see, they're doing fine. I actually added the Gonioporas in from the very beginning of the tank once we added corals for the first time, and then the fungi plate I've had in it a few months, and it's so meaty and happy, it's unreal. I have had fungi plates in the past myself in outside of the work environment, and they've not done so great because water parameters do change and fluctuate, and you can have spikes that happen in a tank. So you have got to be careful. I don't really want to recommend a coral for a beginner, and then unfortunately the money that you've spent goes to waste, and also the coral can die. So we don't want to risk any of that. So I would say leave those two types of corals probably for when you've got a little bit more experience within the industry. You're used to the testing that you've got to do, and also the weekly water changes as we've just talked about. So yeah, apart from that, the tank, as you can see, is doing really, really well. Okay, so a bit of an update on the Next Wave 85 for you. As I said, this has been running for quite a few months now without any fish being added inside the tank, because I wanted it to fully cycle, a little bit different from how I worked it with the Next Wave 60 actually. So with the Next Wave 60 I added the bacteria, and then we added another, the first fish, which was the clownfish, in a few, I think it was the week later, so a little bit different. We've waited a few months actually before even adding anything into this tank. So as you can see, there is some soft corals. So we've got some GSP, so green star polyps for anyone that doesn't know. We've got some leather corals, and also some mushrooms that I've added in. So nothing too extravagant, nothing too colourful. I've gone for just some easy beginner corals, and they were mainly just to test kind of what the tank was doing, because you always know with a coral whether or not it's happy, and I didn't want to test that on fish first. So yeah, the corals are doing really, really well. They're all happy, they're all out, and the only thing that I noticed is that there is a small sheet of diatoms going over the rocks now. So yesterday I added in some snails to try and get rid of that. I added in some turbo snails and also some Sarah snails to go through the sand as well. They're more of a sand sifting snail, so they're doing a great job. You can see that the sand is being turned over. You don't want any build up of detritus on the sand bed, because it can cause toxic gases to release. So you do have to be careful. You need to make sure that you've got the right amount of cleanup crew within a tank, to also help do the job of what a tank does. So we're going to get adding in the wasp fish. I'm going to take you into the fish house now, and I'll show you once again the wasp fish before it goes in. I'll show you acclimating the fish, and then also getting it added in for the first time.
I'm in the fish house now, and I know how much you all love to look at corals. So I thought I'd give you a little glimpse into what we have to choose from just now. Now, all of our coral trays are lit by our own light ranges, and we have the aqua rays, we have the pulsars and the photons on top of all of these bays. Now, a new light that we will be launching very, very soon is the Reef Ion. This currently comes with the Next Wave range of tanks, but this will be available to purchase as a standalone light soon for any of you that have purchased these desktop nano range of tanks. So you're probably going to want to know what corals I went for in the end. So I chose a pink and green walling hammer, and also went for a beautiful rainbow Tracheophilia. So I love watching the reactions on the trachees when feeding. Let's catch this fish and get back into the showroom.
Okay, so I've just finished acclimating the fish. The corals don't need it because the corals are actually in the same water that the tank runs off, and we've done quite a big water change, so that is absolutely fine. They're both at the same salinity, so I've checked that as well with the refractometer. And the acclimation kit, just in case anyone wants to know, is the TMC acclimation kit. You can check your local TMC stockist for this one over on the website. So we're going to get the Scorpino wasp fish inside the tank now, so I'm just going to show you it actually entering the tank for the first time. You have got to be careful with your hands, because like I said, it is actually a venomous fish. So the dorsal fins that it has at the top, the spines, they do release a toxin when they are touched on the top. So he looks very, very happy. I'm going to take you up close and see if I can show you him inside the tank.
So the moment he was entered into the tank, he went down to the very front of the glass and was showing off a little bit at the front of the rock. He then decided to go into this little alcove at the bottom here, and he loves this area of cave that he sits in most of the time. Now these fish are very well known for being bottom dwelling fish and sit within caves, so you don't tend to see them all the time feeding. These fish really enjoy eating river shrimp. It's quite cool to watch the reaction when they're eating, and also I've tested with Reef Complete, which they love.
So that's it from me today at Tropical Marine Centre. Thank you to everyone that's watched this video right to the very end. If you do enjoy these videos, please don't forget you can click the notification bell to be reminded for future videos, and then also in the description bar below there is links to all our other channels and also to our website. Don't forget you can also check your local TMC stockist over on the website, and thank you everyone, have a great day!